This is Hasenheide, Chapter 1. The Orpeids at rapid cylinder cones confer upon the civil and benevolent juncture, riven upon the sky at this time in trees standing in a park on a day that was open. Video world was closed, as in not transcending, so they made their own, having beforehand decided to manifest it in the nearby park, Hasenheide. It's empty, a moment later. It's not empty. When the way of the world is evicted, so we smoke a hole. You're such a sweet thing. It's the cool energy of people that you can feel even in a distance look. They say that a face is indicative of the person, on the nature of being Dasein. However, the calculated effort of this endless mixing, the chemistry lab becoming the world itself, and at this anarchist lesbian cafe this morning, the Dalmatian mixed Labrador is not just pleasing to the eyes, but also a beautiful creature beyond itself. Constantly, endlessly myself, endlessly beyond myself, and the breakfast is slow to develop, but still a break from our fasting, the breaking of a fast from the fast past that is not as alone or represented as cold. Let's start with a drawing that can't be replicated. What do you mean by replicated? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. That's okay. And then the laughter emulated the plastic blue sky arching over the friends. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. But don't laugh unless you really mean it. Ha ha ha. I really don't do anything. I really don't mean anything I do. I just feel things. Fair enough. I'm afraid of the dark, especially when I'm alone in a park. Ha ha ha. Luckily you're not alone and it's not dark. Good point. Thanks. All life. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Indeed, the vast song. All these vast songs, all life. There's a lover in the story, but the story remains a paradox to blame. What the fuck's wrong with the world? Easy. Poor communication and articulation thereof. If thine is the glory, mine must be the shame, but a million candles burning for the help that never came, so we settle on the go-to, preservation. And it's not some idle claim. The park is also here for this very reason. Amen. I don't care to sell. I don't need money. All I need is guest list. Ha ha. Isn't it true though? Another smile craned into a shoulder with sheepish cute lips, a tug of white lights when it's nice. Ha, true. On the border between, and these eyes so vain to the brink, some different light, a casting of the light over the halo, so pulling a purplish transparent lilac glow over the brush. One could call it an afternoon melting into dusk. At a park requirement never signed but personally contracted, when that moment of realization glides and then arrives, it's not a lapse of recognition, but just a movement. Fan fiction, I don't give a flying fuck. Activation on a shift, I feel activation on a shift, I feel activated again. Heidi, after reading the above passage, tells me this needs to be acted by the San Joaquin River. Phoenix could still be arranged in estuary if needed, but as it is, welcome to the show. The lights clandescent far off the surface of the structure scaled with metal mesas. The rain beaded in tiny matrices or ponds, however you saw it. These Coca-Cola dreams as translucent in the fog, hovering like fragile collapses in Arcadia. The thrine of the bushes in the park electrified into snipers that are formerly Black Panthers. A frozen arch of Black Panthers awake and zapping past the foray, even past feminism. It's a cool, quiet day when to wander on the cobblestone streets, rotund, of the horizon, shades of pale wind turned against one another, the symphony of restitution over near the cruising lake, really just a flicker of a lake in Hasenheide. Pale oceans of who we are evaporated like hands on the Japanese napkin. She arose to go. No, let me understand. All the while they were talking the new morality, her eyes explored me, and when I arose to go, her hands were like the hands on a Japanese paper napkin, soft, lame, kind of dreamy and temperate. I came here because I wanted to tell you something. What is it? A blush. Oh, you don't know already? To lean in. I mean, huh? I love you. Huh? I love you is what I said. Do you want to hear it again? Do you hear me? What? What? Oh my fucking god. God damn the forest. Exactly, baby. Oh my fucking god, I know you understand. Two blushes in the fog, silenced by mist. I love you. I love you, but please don't fucking tell anyone. I can understand. It sounds kind of faggy. Silent hands over mouths cooing muha 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 muha. This little I play to keep, while my best friends, including myself, have an aptitude for entertaining the buffoon. The long cylinders, a hysterical realism, and an anecdote from the past of the elders pasted to windows fell down into the streets and disappeared in the crowd's mustard step. When I had stayed awake rereading the brothers Karamazov to understand the tallow dynamics of Fyodor Karamazov, my peers had by then settled on the resolve of themselves and the tickle of adolescence spent on a pillow and in between the sheets, i.e., not staying up to read thick Russian novels. It made me all lesser resolved with a false identified resolution. The river candles turned me out like a glove. That's beautiful, and I know it. The few whispers told this so, as placid as entertainment, when all you know is the residual entrails of the equation in the key equals A and anarchy. Damn it, Sebastian, you never are patient enough. Enough of what? In a week or two, still don't answer, and so you can assume that young Sebastian is still as he always was. I remember when she took me to Milano just to understand the situation of the context of where she had passed time in the early late past. When we arrived, I had the Mexican zeal to hold the very cucumbers that held the patio arches of the Rosacea cafes lined from the train station to the center of town. I soon discovered that a town is really what it was. However blithe the white wine was, we ordered with her friend Mateo in the backyard, ensemble netted a few blocks from his flat. Outside there, we held on to the wet glasses without establishment but order. My broken halo made yet another hole in the purple sky, and we laughed at the stars hovering in plastic cans above Mucha's museum. Perhaps indeed, Mucha's museum was the very reason we found ourselves in Milano. Not even for namesake, to be honest, I swear. That year had found us in the rafters of Russian pedophile's attic apartment in Ponton, still close enough to apparently call Paris. However, to me, the flavor of Ponton more so suited my enamel-colored palate. The rosacea found in nearby geisha, that purple river geisha that you made me visit incessantly that one summer. We were meant to be in Alaska right now, still hanging on that text from my dealer when Lucas Ionesco called and had a clouded response about it all. Dude, trust me, just come to Marie's house, I promise you, we'll have fun. My dealer is on his way now, LOL. I still on this banner, which I'll drop and we'll both glide over. I'll call you a taxi, sexy. So around me was all this stuff, and it was meant to be Mucha's museum, and we were obviously meant to flourish. In Mateo's apartment, there were these curtains that held both the light and the air in therapeutic turns. The pattern of the cloth was aqua. The dirty spy had just arrived, and we were finally beginning to see. Why'd you study fiction if you knew you were just going to become a geisha? I know that someday I'll meet Mucha. How do you know for certain, though? I can't say why, but you can say that I feel things, and this I feel. The blue ocean of fog skimpered over the horizontal hasenheide that the day tried to make vertical, but fuck it, it said. Saul Bellows still a pussy, and Zadie Smith either needs to die or leave London, or both. She's bi like Frank Ocean, however fucking terrestrial he is, releasing 2 albums back to back just to commercialize his bisexuality. Did you know Much is the only designer with a PhD, Doctorate of Philosophy and Political Science, which is essentially political economy, which is essentially a study of how the market works, how the mediation of objects is congruent with the lack of taxes the church has to pay? Let us go, you and I, as the evening is spread against the sky, like a patient etherized on a table. Let us go then through half-deserted streets with the bars hanging in rusted demeanor. Let us go then past the women that come and go, talking of Michelangelo, through the fern alley gates of the Garden of Gethsemane, the gates open sesame. It's evenly gorgeous, she said to me. Yeah, no shit, it's the Garden of Gethsemane. C'est la vie. Did you know je ne parle en français ce soir parce que je déteste ma mère? Did you know je ne parle en français ce soir parce que I live above comic Latin? Ha ha ha! The vinegar of a collapse just arrived in Chowtown. Actually, just outside. You mean Chowtown? Yeah, I guess so. What do you get when you guzzle down sweets, eating as much as Elliot eats? What do you what are you at? Getting terribly fat. What do you think will come of that? I don't like the look of it. When all I could think of at that moment was Olivia when we were in the Palisades eavesdropping on an eternity of green. About the baddest girl I've ever seen. Straight up out of a movie scene. Okay, okay, okay. You spoiled little LA girl. You're just an LA girl. You need to stop it now. Are you kidding me? You must be joking. Are you smoking? Oh, you kidding me? Haha, that was a good one. Your first good one in a while. You need to stop it now. Ow. Olivia was an LA girl who loved to get high as hell. That's why she was an alleged photographer. In the parking lot where I met her, she was high on acid. She showed me a few selfies she took when locked in the CZ bathroom. And a year after the Rose Garden, we shot a music video for Gary Wilson's 6.4 equals Make Out. Case had even driven us to San Diego one weekend of my senior year to catch a Gary Wilson show, but Gary was high as hell. Then, so 5 months later, we found ourselves in a high-rise hotel in the Tenderloin, and Gary paid us in weed and CD versions of his music. To us, across the Bay Bridge, Gary Wilson was a celebrity. That summer when I was in LA, it was the night of my birthday, and me and Braden and Olivia took enough ecstasy and MDMA plus the cocaine that in the blue overcoat of the morning Echo Park was cold and fogging in a bay-like way. I thought then on my birthday, is this Echo Park or Lake Merritt? Because I feel like I'm in the bay. Braden on ecstasy said then, yeah, it's your birthday. Past Costa Mesa and the asphalt plateaus of the Long Beach canals, I remember Phoenix took me just a year later to visit a friend who attempted suicide next to me in the shower in Berlin because no one wants to die alone. She was in a halfway house in California, although she Texas native, and since me and Phoenix were at the time under the table and smiling, she had the residual patience to drive me to LBC halfway house, diminishing in a gray Leonard Cohen vocal frost. The ocean, temperate as always, hid itself behind the invisible blue ferns of the horizon. To live in Berkeley is of a great, elegant caress. In North Berkeley, the sidewalks float northward toward the heavens past Martinez, little Hebrew hills tolling by bell and ring, thronging a deep cadence as lavender as the afternoons broke by in one of the 30 on-campus libraries. Time was by the courtyards where Pynchon was a tragedy, and the others swore that he lived in El Cerrito, a perfect kind of one-stable kind of town hidden in the thick gray cotton clouds of fog and concrete that we know as the San Francisco Bay Area. I couldn't follow the syllabi, and so by the human energy found in hummus and close reading, I took my education in the hills and bypasses the Tilden as the days and evenings converged. Shame on you. I'm from Fresno. I'm trash. Shame on us, baby. When you cry, it brings a tear on us. Overcast as usual, as always, ourself. Me, Lucas Quiros, went with Thayer one weekend to Santa Cruz to take mushrooms early Saturday morning. When my preacher told us by the shores, you should be high on morphine and positive. Coming back to Berkeley that Sunday, my friend in Vagina Monologues asked if she could take a picture of me. They encapsulated my first impression of what I thought when I heard the word vagina. At Cloyne in the east side bathroom next to the study room, she took a photo of water being poured over my head. The photo captured milliseconds before I was wet. All of my summers, I had grown up by the waves near the lighthouse in Santa Cruz, a shooting star's distance from the boardwalk. In that harbor, Clifton's parents docked the Chinese boat that we got drunk off those 12 packs that prohibited our allegiance to the land. Case's family near the harbor have this mansion with heated tiles and basalts next to a swamp of their own. Case lived there for years after he graduated from Berkeley with a degree in history. My family preferred Mount Hermon, typical, without knowing the topography of Felton, a sordid mixture of clouds, Mexican food, and meth. Mount Hermon, a city on a hill, pined for the redwoods of Mendocino. They were more or less the same, whereas in India they say, same, but different. Eddie told me I have dilated pupils like a badger. In Santa Cruz on another summer when my brother had only 2 CDs and a small green Honda Civic, Chromeo's first album and Daft Punk Alive 2007, he would drive me in silent turns from Felton past and through Henry Cowell vis-a-vis Graham Hill Road, just at the tipping point of his cemetery, just before Santa Cruz became Santa Cruz. Each time we made 15 to 10 minute drive, each time we made this 15 to 10 minute drive before we arrived at a beach where he would surf, he would slow down the car near the cemetery that I know the troubadours would have chatted about if they ever visited. Near those pink pastures diverging into the cemetery, there alongside the feline stretch of hillside freeway was this vantage point of an illuminated green box, within it a dead green baby. My brother Elliot would turn off the music as we passed the cemetery and say, every time, check out the baby. What do you think happened? And why'd they bury it in that box? Why you think? 10 minutes later at a beach, as my brother took to surfing the waves without too much or a plethora of sex wax, I would in turn watch the water dilapidate back on itself. And think then what other than death could have happened to the dead kid in the illuminated green box right there next to the small freeway. Slowly my mind would approach Mount Tudor. Per tutto il tempo si parla della muvo, mora e si lasci mi, esplora e la mira azello, per alla esida dita, e la sona catiso, tira sila colo yis Japanese. There near Madonna Inn, where years before my brother and I got kicked out because the men's room has urinals and waterfalls, and my curious older brother pushed me into the women's bathroom, thereupon the kick out, the Kurdish artist Ari held this poem unto me, reminding me of a year earlier at Pomona College Admitted Students Weekend. I saw a professor's 10-year-old son playing beer pong with his dad and the thresh of the conglomerate students. However amorous they happened to be, I want to be nasty, Ari told me through this Favas painting she sent me from Fresno to Berkeley in her and her older brother Steele's green minivan situation. To be honest, I like the colors of it all. I sent back to Ari a reply. Moon River, soft as you appear, wider than a mile, elegant as the night. I'm crossing you with style. Dior, someday, soon I hope. On a hill in Tilden at night, when the virgin trails of the day became more opaque, I noticed a yellow-green star hovering over the brisk of San Francisco lights, bumming through the coats of steam fog. The boats, or gray creatures of the night, pocketed past Alcatraz. In the very Octoberness of this moment, I felt the complex dissipate and take form no longer as you know it. The green light has been overused, overripened in by literature. But as I remember correctly, each time Brother Elliot whisked his green civic past the Thistle and Thrine of the cemetery, the green illuminated child in the glass box became less of a metaphor, but a tangible material body that a highway in California chose to present to me again and again in a way that the ocean is calming to my mother will never be as such to me, finding a southern balance in the elegance of this day today. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. They say that the workings of a psychopath, a really any detail-oriented person, lies in the simple replication of these minute yet signature rotational surfaces. If these surfaces appear again and again, as in crossing the street in the same place, walking the exact same pathway to hasenhiede, etc., there is some underlying network of psychosis reverberating in the chamber of this person's mind. It bears repeating. A reverberation is merely a sound that echoes. An email arrives. The subject of so reads, I made a porno for you. Outside the windows of an office, a stone's throw away from the Fresno State campus, is a casual ensemble of redwood and fern curtailed in thin diagonal axis, the blackest asphalt on this earth. During the summertime in this desert town, the asphalt absorbs what could be estimated as 94% of the sun's temperature, leaving as it is a parking lot unshaded or openly exposed to reach average temperatures of 97 degrees Fahrenheit to 103 degrees Fahrenheit. People who live in Fresno know about this heat complex, and so the option of walking on such days is left to sorority girls and crackheads. The delegated day for conifers landed on Tuesday. From the alpine sky where the white-capped glaciers of the Sierras truncate into just another pastel, the horizon could be seen in the asphalt. Steam bellows from the black tar, and children born on such days as this go through a temporal color costume change. A beginning purple eventually tapers into royal blue, if enough to lay supine on the silhouette of pine cones, and when doing so they asked, "You paint?" I said, "Yeah, I'm kind of a contemporary Fauvist." They shook their heads and questioned, "What? Huh?" "Yeah, I like colors." The question was held in thin plastic cones and targeted at no one in particular. Just a rubber, rubber band demand under the red sky were shots of orange, twisting, exhaling. Someone held a copy of Kesey's Sometimes a Great Notion, but the nausea of the exchange rate further an oblong appeal, have it be pinching, have it be pinching. On the top was a bucket and a mop and an elegant version of yesterday. The season of understanding fortunately passed, with the wind tunnels of Oklahoma's 99 and roses left on the wooden ashtrays, glimmering as wood might in frozen white light architecture. The woman came in a trench coat, sordid yet shining validation of privilege, as it was so, an urban dweller, open sore windows. It was summer, a weekday, in mid-afternoon. She came down slope from Wheeler Hall through Sather Gate into a plaza teeming with corduroy denim, bare legs, blonde hair, horn rim, bicycle spokes in the sun, book bag swaying, card table. So she was lacerated. You could say it was a balance of intention and repose, where the prize were able to mate with the free kind upon the crags. A Gosford slit, returned cartilage, or something of that matter, leaning back with biblical Conan wisdom. "Oh, I see." In Wheeler Hall, under the dramatic rafters, Jeffrey O'Brien voiced into a talk box, "Songs hold the men like Horus for the first time leaving the world. So an ascension? Kind of like a deconstructed ascension." Once Gary Snyder rejected my hug offer, peace treaty, white flag, after his Holloway reading series moment. To be honest, he must be terrible at hugging. "Oh, I see. Well, anyways, this Muslim ascension is thoroughly networked to songs. But why is it that humans make songs? Who was the first fucking person to sing the first fucking song?" "Somewhere on a corner of Angel Island." That's where the deal. What's the deal though with all these rappers at some point in their career turning Christian rapper? Under the banner of heaven, fed or only the colors of capitalism. Is that a koan? I don't know, is it? After Claudia Rankine finished her Holloway reading, I told her I loved the power of her writing. Then we hugged. And after Dave Eggers had finished his Holloway reading, I stole his plastic water bottle and kept it on my desk. The same semester I took Dostoevsky, and his bottle reminded me of Losha. Ha 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 ha. Amazing. And when Terry Eagleton spoke on campus, he said that when he was an undergraduate or graduate student, sorry, can't remember, he had this intellectually stained hobby to brisk through the horrendously specific dissertations at Stanford, trying to find the one koan dissertation so specific that the irrelevance of the research became becoming. He said that his favorite dissertation title was "Some Aspects of the Vaginal Structure of the Fly." Simply amazing. And do you happen to have more? Yes, it's like I'm overtaken by a spirit and I can't even control. Lucas Ionesco told me on Karl Marx Strasse that men are more beautiful when they have long hair, having both of us hair long. The concept being when a man with long hair is naked, he is fashion, he is art, a Rodin sculpture, whereas men with short hair when naked are awkward looking, like a shaved and reawakened penguin in the Mojave. Your mind will never keep you at bay. What kind of Horace Conan is that? I leave it in your hands. The conifers were bleeding red under the menstruating moon, pillowing subtle turns often against each other, and the back pathway scaling the perimeter behind the Claremont Hotel. Following in the slowness of a bellow, the brisks followed one after the other in the horizontal purple light. Ray told me the reason he loved to draw. Drawing is jumping into a whole world of meaninglessness. There are no rules. Can you imagine? With a simple directionless line, westward expansion crumbles on flat plateau, no shade. When these moments of patience make us finally feel time in its thickest current, as when the life model awaits the painter or the drawer awaits the workings of his hand. The stripe or stroke of a pen's line, however unintentionally unplanned, maintains definition but beyond the sudden uncertainties. Expectation is a paper coupon of capitalism. The pre-performance of anything from a thought to action to reaction will always be pathetic. Planned calculations are full of remorse and fear, remaining still past the therapist's parking lot. I feel empty. Baby is never actually empty. Yeah, but now I feel empty. I'm a feminist. No. As soon as I got stoned, I forgot about the internet. One of my friends had stomach cancer that looked like a shark bite, and because of this operation, I had pain for 2 years. To live with the pain like a croissant. Midnight calculation with the Eastern primordials. Smoking that rat Buddha and Varanasi when all there is smoke. It's a big old world. I can't wait to see you. It's a walk in the morning, or no? So don't. I'm gonna wear that dress you like skin tight, cause I just wanna look great for you. This is called Oh Me. I'm not one to compromise. Let's unite tonight. We should fight for our right to embrace. It's our life. Let's unite tonight. Under the field arrows, by the arches of the bridge, by the song Lenny. Prose paced by the enamel of things. No one is hurt at the edge of themselves, and the choppers landed through the brush. Never meant to lay down. Oh fuck, I need a break. The soulless lattice of clouds collapsing are yearning. Dark blackish sky. When the fallow amore look at this, words cruise by, we feel laughter in all its slapstick forest. She played me Rachmaninoff in the woods, and I like a goat, jagged. Is that Philip Glass? And she paused by the ferns against her nude body. Oh my god, I think I just had a feminist encounter with Satan. When the calls came, they were left unanswered. The petite courtyard, which assumed only the boundaries of itself, held a feline elegance that whispered through the gate's uncharted syllables. The apples from a season ago laid in the general mishmash of decomposition. Hungry eyes of orange flamed by in the streets, and the ocean of the sky in a turquoise lattice spilled below small drips, small cuts of pale green. If only it began to rain. If only the nearby eateries would close and turn themselves into places of worship. As Nat Marcus once said, I woke up in the morning just to pray. These Algean lakes surrounding and pimpled throughout the city were visited during the summertime, a season allegedly temperate and cool enough to blanket the sand and hold the sun. But what happened to these lakes in autumn or even winter? Were they simply left unattended? Why bother with this water if but a season ago it was available? But now, what have we? I go on to chapter 3. There a phoenix turned to stone. I have to burn. No, I'll never let you burn. Florida situation. Ain't it funny? No taxes when the pale faces in tubular white polos fetter across the crisscross lawn. Let's take another life to understand because I don't get the concept. Silhouette robes fogged over the windows to a certain extent. We were a desert in a landscape. She laughed in her overalls, but I'm a landscape painter. Shut the fuck up. The nerve endings on my ballpoint splinter and splash and tally-hoed a few centimeters, prescribing the existence of this here line. The unfelt, constantly always left unnoticed, not hidden but elegantly refined in the rafters, rectangles of solid white, infrared light, gesticulating across the shadows of an afternoon. The time after the taking of lunch or forgetting to flecking by, there's a whole nother realm of existence on the other side of the street or yonder. America, the great attempted saga. Painters are the leaders of the visual art world pack. I don't give a shit about these alabaster trends that wither in the trees under the highway. Hello, a hollow echo, an epitaph, a mishmash, coupled disintegrating in the air like horrors, gray October color. A lefty knots a crouch in the day when two spaghetti fight, then lose against the gravity of a pillow. Some people with hostile neutrality that will never do anything for the sake of a few others they know. These people like a grape in the sun, evolving raisin, a dusty shelf that swoons its break into fragmented ketamine glances. It bears repeating. Some people will merely be consumers of beliefs, laws, ideas, and a form-fitting structure of reality. Everything more didactic this way. A girl at Berkeley in a climate change class told me between putters and knots that if the rotation of the sun around the earth was 0.5 millimeters to the left or right, the grass as we know it green would be blue. Oh, you so empress. Formulate infinity stored deep within me. Pardon my lighting. Excuse my overall beautiful decomposition. Worry on instead. On ligament placards remained one night, replaced in the morning. Poultry heads of a dying quill romantically encourage a known track. A limp from the shower when naked in the afternoon shade of natural light. Paper awry, an outdoor patio chair swiveling in the emerald cast of the pool, water green from open. the stand out back, supported by the scepters of wooden beams cupped in yellow halos under the cupboards of the volcano. And hallelujah be thy fame, Mr. Forrester. The consequence is sound. Remind me why me traces or trails back to thee, rotating as cuff and link in dandelion, close hatched Amazon water, couched in thin rectangular waves, bleeding, teething little white thunders. Are you crazy? Is strange? Doldrums of the temple of today. Hey. Water as abstract miniature subtotals of what we call volume is actually only density, which is still as unknown as the cascade of yellow, burnt orange, dark gray, black, avec traces of bleu. This bleu ever becoming, always twaddling in the aspect of vision. For to look upward in this absent space full of a spaceless yet ever-present blue, to look on these horizontal planes we call life, is to cast ourselves into and across bodies of water, colored as they are within a whitish, airish blue. Steely Picasso one day, being the Charlie Chaplin of the art world scene, declared the motors of his vision colored blue. The bells hanging in the hushed-down cathedrals told a deep Algian rose. They heaved a feeling of spirited, darkish blue, almost purple, to the columns and storish houses of the city. From the hazel-green morning mists that clocked a pale tongue to the docks with bobbing ships, the people couldn't have felt more distant and apart from Picasso's self-declared phase. But what is a color phase exactly? Or are we yet again seduced by the magic aspect of a well-tuned visual artist? When to see a painting that works is to be affected by it, not necessarily to be controlled or regulated by the rhetorics of the image, but merely to feel something by it. Does it affect me? Does it work? This landscape lie of culture wanting us to think of ourselves as terrestrial creatures withholds an embrace of the fact that we live on a rotating planet composed of 70% water. These passes in a plain trail on in the dimensionless space in the air of over water. While crossing these oceans, we begin to realize that terrestrial time doesn't imply and is as abstract as the ever-present lingering blue. On the fingernail island, Italian island called Sardinia, there is a stretch in the center valley called Medino Campantino. There, if you go inside to every village, there are people with guns that ask, "Where are you going?" But if you drink with them, it's all right. However, if you decide not to drink with them, there with the ocean hanging onto the western vantage, it will not be all right. There, just past the village bars, are foothills smoked over in the yellow reprise of the desert's dirt. Small, fragile, ephemeral plants spot these hills, holding the framed eternity of abstractness. If you decide not to swallow a liquid with these men with guns, they will take you in the back of their trucks to the foothills escape, where no one, not even the men with the guns, will remember where you were placed. In these quiet dashes of brilliance, the water surrounding Sardinia stirs awake these histories and mystery, typically turned misery. And backstage to a fashion show in Paris, Sammy Gottschalk leans in the mirror only after spraying his face with Avena. When Bologna and Antwerp believed he was on the edge of the reservoir and the sky was blue, respecting Bologna's film production language, for us to feel embraced, a blue hunchback on the other side of the mirror. Hey, huh? What? I'm still your fag. I swore I'd drink your piss that night to see if I could live. Drake delivers exactly what I wanted from him. Drama. Fuck Drake. I like magnetic fields 1994, the charm of the highway strip on my dick. Fuck L.A. Smith yogurt face. Hard times go slowly and the good times never come. And the She-Wolf music video is Shakira really dancing in a vagina. There's a she-wolf in my closet. Ah, ooh. Let it out so we can breathe. SOS, she's in disguise. Well, you got the perfect disguise and you looking okay. Was the geisha really blind or just bipolar? Why do you worship Henry Dogger? His colors, and he embroidered his clothes, draw her fashion identity. Fuck acoustic. So over old school hip hop. Germans understand no hip hop contemporary. In the San Francisco Bay, in metal cylinders under the water hovering in seaweed latex immobility submarines. The arrangement spaced by yet again metal, welding, way too forced masculinity. Do you love me? Blazing summer, cold coffee. You know that Mihal literally when he was 14 would get picked up in a taxi before school to meet some friends in a space, empty yard before the street from his school to get high on speed and weed before school, for they were dealers and school served a double function. Double function on my dick. Kiko Jackson was born into strange circumstances, being on a boat on a dock in Los Angeles. Years later, while studying design at San Francisco State, his first boyfriend, dictated by his shy, poetic nature, it took some time, awoke in Kiko's apartment on a 4-night bender, leading him to confess to Kiko right after morning bay wake-up sex that he's been fucking someone else. Kiko, awaking from post-cum. What the fuck? Yeah, I've been fucking a tranny. Oh my fucking god, what the fuck? Get out of my bed now, you fuck. Whereupon Kiko's boyfriend, half awake, half estranged emotionally by the situational context, and 1 block from Kiko's SF apartment without looking up, got ran over by a bus and died right there then. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Uncle Jim. I know when he look at me, I look at him. Never satisfied, I gotta keep the hammer on the street. Christian nails on me, this is no fairy tale. You are inspirational. Shut the fuck up. 2 times in past, style forever. A year after Kiko's first love got squashed, finding seats in the large enough seat cups to watch the latest lesbian romance, Blue's the Warmest Color, that literally employed existentialism and poor Sartre and their lesbian rhetoric, which made Kiko laugh out loud because marijuana high plus situational context keep the geisha horizontal. Why does she jump? She wishes to feel free. Have you any fantasies? Kick me while I'm down, I'm a pretty man. Can you dip me in the water, will you baptize me? Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Lucian Freud in his petite London studio was able to extend his body into the space in a similar way that day after day, as his model lying nude would watch their flesh and time transpose onto canvas, the living word became flesh. The older you get, you'll see you'll be a lot like me. Everywhere I look, my angel is broken. The charred Nevada overpass, enchanting the perimeter of Valley of Fire, warned drivers of the unexpected flash floods. The Emperor's stir held reign in this Nevada Mars canopy, land of red rock cracking without shade. Their Christians come together for string beans to see Abel Cain clearly. I want to begin again. Reverse Island. We came, we played, we went away, the weirdos hung around. The way I feel. And the weird ones would stay in the wide open hollow. I think this one's cut. Undescribable. Yellow blankets for the frozen children in the Arcadia. One time, 2 time. I'm a superstitious girl. I'm the worst in the world. Life, oh life, oh life. Do 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 do. I'll be there bungee jumping. I don't care. Life can be fun if you really want to. I can see nothing. What do you mean you can't see nothing? In the mirror? I held silence when the open road is closing in and you can't see where it begins and you end. When the sky begins to fall and everything you like, you won't be coming home again. Too sporty, I want to be elegant. Always, always, infinitely, always, always, constantly, always myself. Always, always, constantly, infinitely, always myself. Where the river banks bleed into what is known as the grassy pebble surface of the land rejecting the water, here is where the soft sit of the sand lies. There, if careful enough, you can sit down without worry, without even understanding what you are sitting underneath, which is something of both land and water. As you sit, you look at the water's rubble, the water's tundra splashing, crashing, clashing, and you look behind you or to your left or to your right, and you may see the terrestrial landscape even, uneven, dispersed, bumpy, pebbly, and monotonous. And as you look upward into what is known as the sky, you can see what is known as the clouds, which is the condensed form of water. Did you know that the average cloud weighs a subtotal of 1,000,000 pounds in water weight? However, it's hovering. What is this mystery above us that we see as clouds? We look at a cloud and think of it. We look at a cloud and think of it similar to a pillow, something soft, something with connective tissue so loose that the wind can even part it. However, what is above us is water. However, what is above us is water. Above us isn't like the water next to us that you can walk through. It's 1,000,000 pounds in water weight. What are these illusions that we cast our eyes upon each second of this life? And now a song. In the shallow remains of who I am. Do you not see? Do you not see? In the shallow remains of who I am, of what I am. Do you not see? Do you not see? In the shallow remains of what I am. Do you not see? Do you not see? In the shallow remains of who I am. Can you not see? Can you not see me? At the end, I orient my life around no one but you. At the end, only person who can see me is no one but you. And so we are in this day, in this night, in this afternoon, in this morning, in this breeze, sitting at the park, looking for what we don't have to see, but what we really want to see.